Good morning, everyone. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Justin Wong YUEN, the moderator of this discussion. Thank you very much to all of you for spending your time to attend this discussion on the topic of mental health problem during COVID-19 pandemic. Today, we have gathered a few of you to share some information about cohorts that might be affected due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which include frontliner, college students, and school children. Before starting this discussion, can I have some self-introduction from you? Maybe we can start from SHUAN.
Hi everyone, I am SHUAN. I'm one of the panelists today. Currently, my younger siblings and I study online in home.
Hi everyone, I'm XIAN. I'm a college student.
Hi, I am Sir. I'm a healthcare provider.
Hi, I'm Fong. I'm a university student.
Thank you for the self-introduction. Well, let us start the discussion now. The World Health Organization (WHO) defines mental health as a state of well-being in which an individual realizes their capabilities to combat with normal life stressors and work competency in contributing to the belong community. This is underpinned by six psychological elements which are self-acceptance, meaning in life, autonomy, have relationship with others, environmental mastery, and the last is personal growth. These mental health and emotional issues are now among the foremost public health concerns throughout the world because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Consequently, many individuals are suffering from the elevated anxiety, anger, confusion, and post-traumatic symptoms. Studies have reported partial distancing, self-isolation, quarantine, social and economic discord, and misinformation are among the major contributing factors toward unusual sadness, fear, frustration, feeling of helplessness, loneliness, and nervousness. Well, about other information for this discussion. Now we'll move to the next section in which I will invite our panelists to share their experience related to their role. Hi, patient. As a college student, do you feel more stressed than ever during this COVID-19 pandemic?
Thank you, Miss Moderator. Yes, I feel more stressed than ever during this COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic has caused a lot of stress for me, not only for academic aspect and also caused changes in the way we live. The abrupt switch to fully online learning has been particularly stressful for students. This is because online learning is still a new norm for many students and we need to take some time to adapt to these changes.
Alright, patient, what are the common stressors among college students that cause them to have more serious mental health problems during this pandemic?
One of the common stressors among the college students is academic workload. Although all planned courses have been affected by this pandemic, online learning still leaves college students with the same amount of academic burden as usual. Not only the new online learning and examination mode, but we also have to master much knowledge in a short time. This would consequently lead to different degrees of academic pressure for us. Besides, another problem is students with poor internet connection are always left behind in online learning. Internet connectivity can be a huge challenge for smooth flow and execution of the online exam. They might start to think how these changes could affect their academic grades, and these negative thoughts will cause them to become depressed. A study is conducted to investigate the most common stressors during COVID-19 pandemic among college students. Most of the students reflect that academic workload is the main stressor when they're getting homeschooling. The study also reported that academic workload is positively correlated with perceived stress and is negatively correlated with physical and mental health. Besides, separation from school is the second most common stressor among college students. When students get homeschooling, many events that had been planned are forced to be cancelled and the plan is upset. At this time, students need to come up with a solution immediately. This can consequently lead to anxiety and panic along the way. Besides, college students are separated from their classmates during this pandemic, and this also brings them stress and anxiety. As you all know, College students are usually attached to their school or classmate, so school closure is a kind of separation experience which may be different from the experience when they leave home. They feel depressed when they spend a large amount of time alone and they cannot share their feelings with friends and hang out with their friends to relieve their stress. Thus, the stress will build up over the time and cause mental problems for them. In addition, without face-to-face communication, they start to experience anxiety and they cannot express their idea well in a group assignment discussion. The study reported that separation from school is the second most common stressors among college students during COVID-19 pandemic. This study also reported that the separation from school is positively correlated with perceived stress and is negatively correlated with physical and mental health. The anxiety and stress for college students along the way could cause depression in them. College students always experience adverse physical and psychological outcomes when they perceive excessive or negative stress. Excessive stress may induce physical impairments, including lack of energy, loss of appetite, headache, gastrointestinal problems. Okay, that's all from me.
Thank you, Faisian, for the information that helped us to understand more about stress among college students. Next, we'll move to the stress among school children. SHUAN, as a sister, what do you observe from your younger sibling during this COVID-19 pandemic and how this pandemic has affected them?
Okay, thank you for asking, Miss Moderator. For my view, I am the sister that has younger siblings who study in primary school and secondary school. From my observation, I found out they have some common changes in behavior, such as changes in eating habit, they eat more food than before, excessive annoying behavior, increased sadness, depression, or worry, like worry about their family members who are working outside, and have difficulty with concentration and attention on the study. I think other children and teenagers also have the common changes in behavior when they face mental health. Now I will share a diagram, a figure to you all. From this figure, during the pandemic, the parents that have children with age 5 to 12 show elevated symptoms of depression 4.4% and anxiety 6.3% and 9.2% physiological stress, and the highest percentage 22.1% of overall worsening of mental or emotional health. And this might due to several reasons. One of the reasons is they worry about their family members who are working outside. Although they do not need to study in school, but their family members still need to work outside every day. They feel worried and fear that their family members will get COVID-19 when working outside. Next, they could not meet friends physically. During the pandemics, we knew social distancing is very important. So children and teens has less outdoor activity or physical activities such as jogging, swimming, and playing badminton. They also not allowed to go to school and meet their friends physically. This causes them to talk less with friends and has less physical interaction with others. Therefore, they might experience anxiety, distress, loneliness, social isolation when studying online at home. Furthermore, they don't have a suitable environment for study at home. For example, some children and teens like my siblings do not have a suitable environment to study at home. They will find it is hard to focus on their study because they are always interrupted by the surrounding. For example, the television sound, younger siblings are crying. In short, we should pay more attention to children and teens during the pandemic, avoiding them from getting mental health problems. That's all for me. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Shasha, for the information about stress among school children in this pandemic. Next, a character that we can't ignore is the frontliner. They contribute and risk the most during this COVID-19 pandemic. Sir, do you agree that healthcare providers are facing stress during this COVID-19 pandemic?
Thank you, Miss Moderator. Yes, I agree. Stress and depression are a common situation for everyone when facing tough work. However, the condition of stress and depression became obvious during COVID-19 pandemic. As a healthcare provider, I can feel this stress and depression due to many factors during the pandemic. Most of us have emotional distress due to the current pandemic. We feel stress, anxiety, frustration, and overwhelmed easily. In healthcare finance news, the responses collected from 1,119 healthcare workers survey indicated they are stressed out and stretched too thin. 93% of healthcare workers were experiencing stress, 83% reported experiencing anxiety, 77% reported frustration, 76% reported exhaustion and burnout, and 75% said they were overwhelmed.
Alright, Soksa, we are also curious about one other factor that increases the stress of healthcare providers. Can you give some information?
Yes. First, we healthcare providers are given our risk of exposure to the virus. We have to face various COVID-19 patients every day, even though we are afraid of becoming another victim of COVID-19. In a study of prevalence of COVID-19 tests among frontline healthcare workers compared with the general community between March 24 and April 23, 2020, it showed that there were 2,747 cases per 100,000 frontline health workers compared with 242 cases per 100,000 people in the general community. The figures show increases our stress as we have a higher chance of contracting the virus. Next, the shortage of personal protective equipment (PPE) increases stress of healthcare providers. We need to reuse the PPE, although we know that it will increase our risk of contracting viruses. Arnold Toaster, who is a global entrepreneur, stated that his mother told him that the hospital was in shortage of protective respirators. This caused her and fellow healthcare workers need to reuse masks at the hospital. In the journal Advances in WONG, a study covering 161 hospitals treating COVID-19 patients in China has found that 42.8% of 4,308 healthcare respondents had some form of skin injury related to PPA. The most forms were device-related pressure injuries, moisture-associated skin damage, and skin tears. This was because the PPE was worn about 7.7 hours daily, and roughly a third of respondents reported heavy sweating while wearing them. The skin injury due to PPE caused not only feeling stress but also suffering the pain. Last but not least, longer working hours by healthcare providers increase our stress. This is because a lack of manpower in the healthcare field due to the virus infection among healthcare providers. In healthcare finance news, 90% of healthcare workers said they have been getting less than the recommended 8 hours of sleep each day, and 1 in 3 admitted to getting 4 hours or less. Work performance is lower as a result. 1 in 3 healthcare workers found that they have been making more mistakes at work. The long working hours not only affect the emotional health of healthcare providers but also affect our health condition. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Soksa, for the clear information. I totally agree with your point and hope you can stay safe while you are working. Next, we invite the last panelist, Fong to explain something about stress among university students. Hi, Fong. Based on your knowledge and experience as a university student, what do you think of the negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic on university students and how does it relate?
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, university students were living on campus and studying face-to-face. Students were able to gather with their friends without any limit and restriction. However, the uncontrollable outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic has been impacted significantly to all the university students and educators. Students are asked to stay at home and go through the online registration. All the face-to-face classes are also forced to cancel and replaced by online learning. It was undeniable that COVID-19 pandemic also negatively impacted the mental health of university students. First and foremost, difficulty in focusing on academic work. In the COVID-19 pandemic, the university students continue their study through online learning at their home. Noisy environment and distraction from family members could cause the student to fail to concentrate during the class. Moreover, prolonged attention to the online study will make the student lose their focus, feel impatient and irritable. Some students that lack responsibility as a student might be interfered with social media and games during the class ongoing. In this condition, students might be lost their performance in their study and thus result in anxiety. From the questionnaire, 89% of participants agree with the difficulty in focusing on academic work. Nearly half of the participants stated that their study environment is distracted and easily distracted by their family members. 12% of the students are mentioned as irresponsible, and 11% of students involve themselves in social media and games. Let me move forward to the next negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic is the worry and stress toward the academic performance. Students were concerned about the class quality and network technical issues for the online learning. Some students face difficulty in completing their assignments or tasks in group as they can only discuss through online platforms. They may encounter different suggestions for the task, but are unable to reach the final decision. Miscommunication and argument may also occur in completing the task among the members. Some students may have internet connection problems during their examinations and quiz. This results in low performance in their academic study and eventually a stress on them. 82% of the participants indicated concerns about their academic performance. Students of 23% were worried about the progression of their assignment and tasks as there is lack of physical discussion among the members. While 14% of students stated that major stress they face is the uncertainty performance through the online learning. There are some examples given to show the students' worries. Did I register and submit for my examination? Did I see everything my teacher posted in Moodle? What happens if my internet goes out and I miss an assignment? Last but not least, increased social isolation and loneliness. During the COVID-19 pandemic, everyone, including university students, are asked to stay at home to reduce the risk and spread of pandemic. This will definitely decrease the chance to interact with people such as classmates and friends. Some outdoor activities such as swimming, hiking, and jogging were also not allowed. The situation is considered as loneliness, where the student is without any company and isolated from the community. Students also are not able to distress and express their emotion with their friends face to face. At worst, loneliness will eventually turn students into mental health problems such as anxiety, depression, and stress. From the research made, 86% of the participants mentioned that the COVID-19 pandemic has increased the social isolation and loneliness among the university students. More than half of the students shows decreased interaction with other people. 1/3 of the students are worried about the lack of interaction among friends. Well, a small portion of the students indicated that prohibitions of outdoor activities has affected their mental health. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Fong. Your sharing is very informative and helpful. We are almost at the end of this discussion. But before I end this discussion, I just want to share a few suggestions to reduce the stress. Firstly, doing exercise is a good way to release stress since it can lower the hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. The example of exercise you can do during this pandemic such as yoga, dancing, and walking in the house. Secondly, You should search for professional help if facing mental health problems. Don't be shy and underestimate the effect of stress on your mental health. Just talk to the professional people and find a way to solve your problem. After that, people should get information from the official and reliable sources. Misinformation can lead to panic and anxiety among a large population. Only share information when it's proven to be fact. Last but not least, I think government health agency should make online counseling section to help people who are facing mental health problems. Finally, we came to the end of this discussion. Again, thank you very much to all the panelists. I hope you enjoyed the discussion and gained some new information back home. I'm looking forward to the next meeting in the future. Thank you.